Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we have to talk about Ring Doorbell, now owned by Amazon, because they've been giving footage to the police without consent. So happy Prime Day, everybody. Now, as I mentioned in my teaser earlier, I have a personal story, and they have been, like I said, a thorn in my side since 2018. I am going to get to that story, but first, let's talk about what's going on. This is coming from the Daily Beast, and yeah, we kind of knew this, but we got to go through this anyway. Here's what's up. Amazon has given Americans' doorstep footage to law enforcement at least 11 times so far this year. The number may seem low, but we're going to talk about that as well. Now, this figure emerged in a letter that Amazon sent to Senator Ed Markey, Democrat of Massachusetts, at the beginning of July after he asked Amazon about privacy violations in June, according to the publication Politico. Now, Ring, which was bought by Amazon in 2018, and oh, I know they were, has previously insisted that police cannot look at its doorbell recordings unless the owners share them publicly or choose to directly share them with law enforcement, except when police issue subpoenas. Obviously, if they've got a judge's subpoena, they're going to do that, or as they state, in the case of emergencies where someone's physical safety could be in immediate danger. Somebody's taken hostages, the Ring doorbell picks that up, they're going to call the cops, or the cops are going to know that. The question is, how are they going to know specifically, basically why the Ring doorbell is catching a heart attack or a hostage situation? How do they know that unless somebody is basically popping this in? This is actually one of those interesting questions, and on the privacy side that the Daily Beast really doesn't talk about, but we're going to as well. Now, Ring's company policy does say it can share users' data without their consent. The letter to Senator Markey is actually the first time that Ring has confirmed that they've actually done this. Lawmakers have previously questioned Amazon's data privacy practices, including after a Reuters investigation this past November revealed that the company had led a secretive lobbying campaign to unwind privacy protections in 25 different states while collecting an enormous amount of sensitive data on its customers. We are talking about Amazon, one of the largest data collectors in the world, and we will talk about Ring, like I said, about that as well. Now, Ring's doorbell cameras specifically have cause for concern because of their ubiquity and previous reports of their abuse. Amazon revealed in 2020 that 4 employees had improperly accessed and used Ring video data. That is just the tip of the iceberg, as we'll get to. But if you think about it, the amount of data that they're collecting every Halloween, you say, oh, like 50,000 Ring doorbells were pressed in Miami, 250,000 in Chicago, 1 million in LA, those kinds of things. We see that information. They know everything about where these Ring doorbells are. Now, Amazon also has agreements with 2,161 police departments in the United States to use their app Neighbors, through which police can send alerts and request footage to users who use it for sharing and commenting on videos. This app, obviously, that's a concern too. Is it giving GPS locations of the users? Like, what is going on here? Now, in these specific 11 cases in which the footage was shared without owners' consent, Amazon's VP of Public Policy, Brian Huisman, explained in a letter that, quote, Ring made a good faith determination that there was an imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to a person requiring disclosure of information without delay. And the question is, why is Ring doing that if there's a Neighbors app and the cops should be requesting it directly? Or are the cops going, oh my God, we've got a problem, let's just contact Amazon and Ring because we think there might be a Ring doorbell in the area? I mean, what kind of relationship is this? These are questions that I think that really need to be asked, and quite frankly, the Daily Beast isn't putting it out there, but again, the nerd, then the privacy wonk in me, here we are. Now, it's not clear, though, with these 11 incidents, what the incidents involved or where they even took place. Privacy advocates, myself included, have previously raised the alarm about potential abuses of police requests in Ring footage. For example, the LAPD requested videos of a Black Lives Matter protest in 2021, according to Electronic Frontier Foundation. From what I understand of that protest, as I just quickly looked it up, is that it was peaceful. Like, there was nothing crazy about it. So why would the cops need that information? Quote, As my ongoing investigation into Amazon illustrates, it has become increasingly difficult for the public to move, assemble, and converse in public without being tracked and recorded. That is according to Senator Markey. Now, that said, it's not just Ring. We are on cameras everywhere, whether they're red light, stoplight cameras, that the government is running, or they're cameras sitting on a building that are privately owned, or you're just walking through a neighborhood and you're being picked up on every Ring doorbell, every Nest camera, every whatever you've got. These are a huge thing. So I think that we forget what Ring was when Amazon actually purchased them. This was a company that had insanely lax security controls for their internal employees. And thanks to a whistleblower, speaking to The Intercept in 2018, we learned that essentially any executive in Ring, again, this is in the lead up to the purchase. They're not owned by Amazon, but this is what Amazon bought. Any of the Ring executives essentially could go in and look at any doorbell at any time, review the footage, see it live, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Meaning, if I'm in a Ring doorbell and I want to stalk my ex and she's got a Ring doorbell, I can do it. On top of that, they weren't storing anything in encryption, according to the whistleblower, meaning all of that data was unencrypted because it would be easier to sell for advertising or other purposes. On top of that, they were outsourcing essentially basically thousands of employees to countries that we wouldn't exactly call deep allies, let's put it that way, and giving access to a whole bunch of American doorbells. This is what Amazon bought. Also, during the Ring purchase, either Ring or Amazon both ran, or possibly both of them or one of them, ran aggressive campaigns to clean up Ring's image and quash every negative story that the press had on them. And that is where my story comes in. And here's essentially what happened. And I know, I literally remember the day that this actually happened, because when the bomb dropped on this, it was at medieval times. I was sitting in medieval times when I learned about this. Now, back up a couple of days. This is the beginning of 2018, around February or so. I published an article for Forbes called The 5 Laws of Cybersecurity. If you follow me, you may have read that, or you may have seen the subsequent TED Talk I did in September of that year for the 5 Laws of Cybersecurity. It's one of my claims to fame, if you will. I don't know what you'd say that, but it's the 5 laws. Went kind of viral in cybersecurity. It's being used by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, name soon to be changed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I published this article, all well and good. A day that I go to medieval times, and this is before I get to medieval times, but you'll know why in a second. For a sec, I basically got a tweet from a woman that basically, and obviously it's public because it's a tweet that said, hey, there is a serious mistake in your article, The 5 Laws for Forbes, can you DM me and I'll let you know? And I'm thinking, oh my God, of course, I'm trying to be as accurate as I can. I research very heavily. I've got editors that have gone through this to make sure that I'm maintaining my accuracy. And so I send this woman a DM and she basically says, well, you state in your article that the Ring doorbell was never hacked the Ring doorbell was hacked, but I can tell you right now, it was never hacked. Meaning she's telling me that I'm saying the Ring doorbell is hacked, and I know it has been. She's saying it's not. And so I said, well, wait a second. I absolutely know the Ring doorbell has been hacked. It was hacked by the pen test partners out of the UK. Here's a link to their article. Here's the screenshot, step by step, of basically a masterclass of how to break into a Ring doorbell. And I also stated to her, as I did in my article, and I also mentioned that 2 weeks later, Ring fixed it. They patched the vulnerability. We're all good. I did not hear back. And so now, fast forward that day, I am sitting in medieval times. Don't ask me what color I was wearing on my head when I saw that my article had actually been altered. In the article itself, under the 4th law, and the 4th law of the 5 laws of cybersecurity is, with innovation comes opportunity for exploitation. I wrote essentially about IoT hacking, where I said the Ring doorbell had been hacked. When I read the version that evening, again, sitting in medieval times for all places, they had changed it to, it had a vulnerability. And sure, it had a vulnerability, but I wrote that it was hacked. And it was hacked. And I linked proof in the article, and I said that they fixed it. And I went on to learn, as I started investigating, okay, who's this woman? Like, why did she contact me? She worked for a marketing company that listed Ring as a client on their website. So essentially, they were looking for negative press about the Ring doorbell. They were looking to kill this. They found my article in Forbes that stated they had been hacked. They took exception, and apparently they got my editors to change it. I was never notified of that, and when I read that, I was pissed. I have the original article, obviously, and when I got up on stage, for the 5 laws of cybersecurity, I actually did not mention that because it didn't flow, with it, but ooh, I was so close to saying that. Anyway, that is my thing with Ring. So now, just given their horrible practices, given everything else that I've seen, given that they actually targeted me and had one of my articles in Forbes edited, anytime there's something that's a Ring problem, I'm going to give you that news because, quite frankly, why would you want to bug your own house? Why would you want to give the police access to your footage without your consent? Why would you want to give Amazon this kind of stuff? Same for Google, same for everything else, but Ring made it personal. That's my story. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that, but I was targeted by Ring, and while I'm not sitting there fighting off lawsuits or suing them, that was still kind of annoying. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online. Please attempt to stay private and never buy a Ring doorbell. Thanks, everyone.